The Pels had 2 draft picks last night, and boy, did they take advantage of them. Drafting Dyson Daniels and E.J. Liddell. Help us welcome the newest members of the New Orleans Pelicans. Go down and hit that thumbs up icon. Hope you all enjoyed our NBA draft coverage last night on Chat Sports. Now we're talking about the NFL here on Saints Now. I am Will Scott, breaking down on this Friday afternoon the latest Saints news and rumors, and we begin with some news on Demario Davis. He has signed an updated contract, agreeing to an updated contract. So his base salary will drop from $8.5 million to $8.25 million this upcoming season. But what this does for Davis is lock him in through 2024. He was originally slated to be an unrestricted free agent after the 2023 season, so this is basically a one-year extension with updated incentives and a different base salary. All the details coming in from ESPN reporter Field Yates. Saints linebacker Demario Davis recently agreed to an updated contract that includes this: $2 million in incentives each year the next 3 seasons, $6 million maximum incentives. His 2023 base salary goes from $8.5 million to $8.25 million, but he adds a $250,000 workout bonus, and $1 million of that salary is guaranteed. No cap impact on 2022. Field Yates continues saying an important point of clarity: this deal is actually a one-year extension for Davis, who is now signed through 2024. He can make $14 million, $10 million base salary, $2 million roster bonus, $2 million in incentives. One of these Saints' most respected players is now locked up for another year. He's locked up for the next 3 seasons. So like this video to congratulate Demario Davis, who, like Field Yates said, is very well respected, one of the key parts of that Saints defense at the linebacker position. Like this video, hit that thumbs up icon to congratulate Demario Davis. We're really happy to lock him in for another year. So you have him for this season, 2023, and now 2024. Here is what he did in 2021. Over 100 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 7 pass breakups. Incredibly valuable, and not just on the field, but really off the field as a leader in the locker room on this Saints team. And that makes me really happy for Demario. I mean, how can you not like this guy? He's a fan favorite. He's a locker room presence. Coaching staff loves him. Players love him. Fans love him. Everybody loves Demario. So not only am I happy for Demario that he gets some pretty generous incentives from the Saints that will definitely get him a little bit more cash, but you also lock him in for another year. You don't have to worry about him being a free agent after the 2023 season. He's the heart and soul of this defense, right? What he does at the linebacker position, kind of the quarterback of this defense, if you will, and he's definitely taken a leadership role on this team the last several years, and now you lock him in for another 3 seasons. This is a win-win, in my opinion, for both Davis and the Saints. Now go down in the comments and type DD if you are pumped for Demario Davis. I want to see y'all down in the comment section. This is the pinned comment on today's video. Go down and reply to it. Type DD down in the chat. It's going to be wild taking a look at, all these NBA free agency rumors. KD might be on the move. Bradley Beal's going to be an unrestricted free agent. Kyrie might be traded. You don't want to miss anything, and we're going to be live June 30th. Mark your calendar. Start of NBA free agency. I'm sure the Pelicans might be a little bit aggressive after a playoff appearance last year. They're going to want to get better with Zion coming back. Very exciting stuff for the Pelicans going forward. So you don't want to miss it. That's the sub link right there. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. Go down and subscribe. That sub link in the comments and the description. I can promise you we're going to have the best NBA free agency coverage. Talking about Alvin Kamara now, and we're continuing to monitor this situation after the alleged battery in February at Pro Bowl weekend in Vegas. He's bracing for a suspension of at least 6 weeks. That is what we expected. That is now the report. Now, the suspension may not be served right away. There could be an appeal process that happens, and he who knows? He might play weeks 1 and 2 and then doesn't play weeks 3 through 8. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, the personal conduct policy provides for a baseline 6-game suspension. So that is why Kamara's camp is expecting a 6-game suspension, and that is why we have brought that up in the past here on Saints Now, possible 6 games. So his court date is set for August 1st. When that happens, when we have what goes down there, then Roger Goodell and the NFL might make a decision on the suspension for Kamara. But Kamara's camp, he himself preparing for 6 games. Here's what Pro Football Talk said about a possible suspension. Kamara possibly could be placed on paid leave pending resolution of the criminal case. Given that he faces a felony charge, he would still be subject to a potential unpaid suspension after the case is resolved. So that is the latest on Alvin Kamara from Pro Football Talk. There's reports out there that he is bracing for a 6-game suspension. Now, do you think Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended week 1? Is he going to be on the field for the Saints week 1, or is he going to be sitting at home watching the Saints play? Type Y for yes or type in for no down in the comments section. Make your predictions right now down in the comments. And I hate to say it, he probably is going to get suspended week 1. I don't think he's going to be on the field. So that might lead to a trade of a running back. Let's break down some targets. My number 1 target, as I've said, is Josh Jacobs. I think it's going to be somewhat of a high price to get him, maybe a 2nd or 3rd round pick, but he's worth it. He's talented. I really like Josh Jacobs. Who's going to be extremely cheap is Myles Gaskin. And it's interesting because Gaskin was the Dolphins' primary running back last season. However, the Fins signed 3 running backs in free agency. They brought in Sony Michel, who the Saints were going after, Raheem Mostert, and Chase Edmonds. They do not need Myles Gaskin anymore, so he went from RB1 to RB4 on the Dolphins depth chart, which might bring him to a team like the Saints that needs a running back a lot more. I think the Dolphins would give him up for pretty cheap because they would save $2.5 million trading him. Someone else who might be a trade target is Saquon Barkley. Now, Barkley, when he is on the field, he's really good. The problem is he hasn't been able to stay on the field, but I just don't know if he would be interested in being an RB1 for 6 or 7 weeks and then being RB2. I'm not sure if Saquon is that guy. If this trade happened, it probably wouldn't happen until closer to the trade deadline, right? This is the last year he's under contract with the Giants, and this is a really big year for that new coaching staff, for the new front office. They want to win sooner rather than later, but if they're having a bad season and they're getting the vibe that Saquon's going to leave in free agency, then maybe they would look to trade him at the deadline. I think he starts the season for the Giants because they want to provide Daniel Jones as much help as possible. If that trade happens, likely to be when the deadline is, but then Alvin Kamara is going to be back. That might not make a lot of sense for the Saints. Kareem Hunt, someone else. We've talked about Dearness Johnson of Cleveland, but if you want to maybe get someone a little bit better, Kareem Hunt is the 2nd running back behind Nick Chubb in Cleveland. The Browns have a loaded running back room. They might look to trade Hunt or Johnson. I think Hunt would be a stellar pickup for the Saints. Latavius Murray, we talked about him the other day. He is a free agent target, someone that you could get without having to give up draft picks. So that's something to keep in mind. And Murray played for the Saints for 2 seasons in 2019 and 2020. I really like Latavius. I think he's a good locker room guy. He's got some talent. Had a decent year last year with Baltimore. I'd be all for bringing him back. Justin Jackson, somebody else that we've talked about. He played for the Chargers the last 4 years after being a 7th-round pick in 2018 out of Northwestern. He is someone to keep in mind. He was the Chargers' 2nd running back the last couple years. And then Devontae Booker as well, still out there. Now, when you're looking at free agent targets, not a whole lot of really good options still left out there. Those 3 are pretty solid. If I had to pick one of them, I would take Murray. But like I just kind of hinted, the running back market is very thin. And I think if Kamara gets suspended, and honestly, I think it's a question of how long and not really if at this point. I think a suspension is coming, probably 4 to 6 games. Then your best option is to trade for a running back. You want Jameis to be in the best position to have a breakout season. He needs some help at the running back position. For that to happen, you need to go out and trade for a Josh Jacobs or Myles Gaskin. One of those two guys, I think, could be traded to the Saints before the season starts. Now, do you think the Saints need to add a running back? Type A for add or type D for don't. Down in the comments section. Also, feel free to tell me down in the comments what running back you want the Saints to add.